it back to you at Starbase for the final minutes of the countdown. Kate and Dan.
We are just over 4 minutes away from Starship
Thank you, Jesse.
Integrated
So
Flight Test number 7
under 5 minutes ago, you picked the
launching.
right time to do it.
And
just a quick status check. So
there's a lot of updates on this version, including things like active cooling and repositioning of the forward fins or canards or whatever you want to call them, and to try to reduce that melting that we saw on some previous flights, and a whole bunch of other goals that they added to this flight. So I'm really excited to see
we do have an
what
opportunity to hold at T-minus 40 seconds if necessary. This is a chance for us to
else this mission has, because I looked at some of the updates, but there are quite a lot. Continuous updates, and that's how they're going to get there.
Or if there's a wayward vessel in the range,
what a beautiful day in Texas.
To clear it out. But everything currently looking good. Now, once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, a number of events will occur in rapid succession. The ground spin and ignition systems come up to flight pressure. The ship will go to internal power. After that, the quick disconnect, or QD, arm lockout is removed in preparation for retraction, which will happen shortly after T0. And yeah, once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, we do have the ability,
3.5 minutes.
We have the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions back to that T-minus 40 second mark and hold there to assess what happened and assess opportunity to proceed again to T0.
Yep, we've used that T-minus 40 hold a couple of times. Boat's usually one of the items, but we aren't tracking anything right now that would cause us to hold there. We can hold there for several minutes. Main thing you're watching at is you kind of set a clocks because your temperatures will change and the fuel in the locks, everything pretty quickly. So you've got a couple of minutes that you can hang out and figure things out. There are items that if we pass them, we're scrubbed for the day. One of the main ones is that flame
just over 2.5 minutes. Our URG indicator is hanging out up here, kind of keeping an eye on things.
Fill the deflector as well as all of our prop that we use to load on board the vehicle. It's pretty much just under 11 million pounds of prop setting on that thing right now. And we can actually recycle in about 24 hours now.
Which is incredible given the sheer volume of propellant that is on board the vehicle there on your screen.
T-minus 2 minutes.
All right, coming up on the 2-minute mark. Again, a lot of ambitious things on the plate today.
T-minus 2 minutes.
New ship, new year, a lot of upgrades.
Turn this up a little bit.
Doing a lot of ambitious things in space this time. Our first payload deploy, relighting a Raptor engine. We're looking good.
So
1.5 minutes.
We have an opportunity to hold at T-minus 40 seconds, not tracking any issues at the moment that would be necessary right now. So fingers crossed we can pass through that checkpoint without stopping. But the folks on console are continuing to evaluate the launch commit criteria, making sure that the winds are within limits as well as any other weather restrictions. But man, compared to yesterday, this is a textbook gorgeous day.
Oh yeah, little breezy today, but we got clear blue skies for a launch today. So at this point, all the prop has been loaded on the vehicle. We've closed everything out. We're doing our final thrust vector control, or steering for the engine checkouts. Once we hit the 30-second mark, we'll hear the flight director give the final go for launch. So we're under a minute. As we said, we're not expecting a hold at T-minus 40. But do not be shocked if that happens. It has happened in the past, and we can hang out there for a couple of minutes if we need to.
If memory serves me right,
we hold my breath for 4 seconds.
Pass through prop load gate.
All right, we passed right through that prop load gate.
Hot diggity dog.
Hot diggity dog.
We're going to let our flight director, Ty Huntington, take it.
T-minus 30 seconds, or go for launch. I got to turn this up.
20 seconds.
I got to feel it.
T-minus 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition! Lift off! Woo! Good job, guys. All engines running.
Pressure's nominal.
Great video cameras running.
All right, we're more than 30 seconds into flight. Telemetry showing 33 out of 33 engines as it's pitching down range.
Looking good.
Booster, ship, avionics, power, telemetry nominal.
Nominal.
Hearing good call outs on the ship and booster avionics. You just heard the rumble hitting us about 6 miles away.
They're
Watch
ready
the
to
Starship
rumble.
arc into just endless blue skies right now.
I like that.
Vehicle supersonic.
Sort of a countdown.
More than
Are
a
you
minute
ready
into
to rumble?
flight, the vehicle's supersonic.
The atmosphere could have an earthquake. That's pretty much what a launch is.
So we just passed through
Earthquake
max Q.
generator.
That's the greatest stress the vehicle's going to experience on the way uphill. Reminder that all of our teams down here on the ground are now looking at systems on the tower. They just did a manual check through. That's going to inform that manual flight director's decision. Next moment coming up, though, is
Halfway
going to be hot
through.
staging. Don't take your eyes off it. It's one heck of a light show.
What a gorgeous ascent.
6 ship engines getting ready to ignite. That's going to happen while we're still attached.
We can still see the ship's engines from the ground.
Wow, such a clear day. They can see the engines. There's going to be a lot of good videography for this from some of these YouTubers like Everyday Astronaut.
Good call outs on the tower prepared.
NASA space flight.
Reminder though, we've still got automated checkouts on the booster and the ship itself. But as of right now, our manual checks and our manual commanding is looking go for a catch.
Booster engine cut off.
That is incredible news.
Woo!
Call out for booster engine
Nico.
cutoff.
Engine startup.
Most engines
State
cut off
stop.
out of those middle
Separate.
3.
Boost back front startup.
Boost back. Wow.
All
Wow.
right, hot stage
Ship raptor, chamber
confirmed.
pressure's
We've got a
nominal.
booster hopefully on our way back
We
to
got
us.
2 separate
And a
rockets
ship
flying right now.
now making its ascent burn into space. How's it going in Hawthorne, Jesse?
It's great over here. You can hear the crowd screaming for every milestone. The booster is now making its way back down to Earth. Looks like we have 12 of those 13 engines ignited. We're using the engines that actually gimbal.
We are go for booster return.
And
Oh, they're
excellent
go
call
for
out
booster
there. We
return.
go for booster return.
We're going to try to land it.
There's a lot of criteria that needed to line up to ensure that we could have a
Boost
safe
back front shutdown.
booster catch, and it sounds like we got the go for that. And there you can see on your screen, we had we just jettisoned the hot stage, and there's a great, excellent view there of the hot stage floating away from the super heavy booster. Now we've shut down the engines for that boost back burn. That confirms boost back burn is now complete. That was the first of 2 burns required for the vehicle to make its
Boost
way
back's
back down
complete.
to Earth. And next coming up,
Now
will
it's
be
just
the
following
landing
with
burn.
style
That's going
back
be
to Starbase.
13 of those center engines igniting again.
For a big
And that
mechanical
will
hug from
then go down
Mechazilla.
from 13 down to 3 engines just right before we touch down for that booster catch. Now, reminder, our stage 1 objectives are to have a controlled ascent, stage separation, as well as a controlled boost back burn and hot stage as well. So we're looking good for that so far. Some great views there from the ship of Earth. That looks incredible.
I like these tiles right here.
Now, Starship's ship is still firing its engines right now.
Starship trajectory nominal.
And great call-outs. Starship
You know,
trajectory
eventually they're
is
going to have to put
nominal.
the
You can follow
heat shielding
along
on all
the
that metal of some
telemetry,
kind.
The altitude in the bottom
So I think
left-hand
they're
corner
testing
for
out
the
like
Super Heavy booster, as well as the bottom right-hand corner for the
what happens to
ship.
tiles on the top
And
of
these
those wings,
views are
fins, or
just
canards, whatever you
amazing.
want to call them.
Again, the booster is currently making its way back to the tower today. So we're looking forward to a booster
That's a cool
catch
shot,
with the
looking
chopsticks.
backwards.
And in the meantime, you can see those grid fins there.
Oh, we're getting close.
Helping to control the vehicle.
Getting close to the
and
landing.
guide it back to its
Catch.
landing site.
Is it even a landing?
Booster FTS is saved.
Now with that, we're going to hand it back. How's it going over there, Dan and Kate? How are you doing, Kate? Seeing that in person.
20 seconds.
You know, Dan had to take that entire segment because I couldn't talk. That was incredible.
There it is.
We can see the booster coming back in now through the plume. At least it looks that way to us. It's incredible that it basically returns. It looks like a speeding, just like this silver flare.
Oh wow! Look at that!
Once again,
Wow!
we
Look at
are
that!
standing by for
Look at that!
attempting to catch.
Yeah, all that heating right there, by the way, is literally thermal heating from friction in the atmosphere. Landing burn!
13 engines.
Booster now hovering as
Oh,
it
wow.
aligns with the tower
wow.
for catch.
Oh wow!
Booster coming in. Get
Down
ready
to-
for that boom, Kate.
Down to 3 engines.
Megadilla has caught booster.
Give me a hug! Give me a hug! Wow! They did it again, man!
You heard it here. Megadilla has caught the booster.
Once again, for the second time, a successful catch by the launch tower. This is the same tower, the launch pad, where that booster took off from just 7.5 minutes ago.
Wow, let's look at it, rocking back and forth.
From the
Wow, it's
joystick
just
arms,
swinging back and
looking
forth.
at those hypersonic grid fins that steer the booster for that precision landing.
Wow.
It almost looks like it's flapping its
You
wings.
can see just how small that catch fitting is, too, on something that's just so massive.
That was absolutely insane.
I guess the landing
Meanwhile,
catch was a
We're not
success.
done,
Wow,
but
look at
not
that.
there's
done
more.
yet.
Wow, that is just absolutely stunning.
Based on the chill on the tank, they got some
And this,
fuel
of
to
course,
spare.
a gorgeous view there from the tower looking down at the top of the booster.
All right, and we are tracking.
Now we're standing by for views from the ship, but who can take their eyes off of that incredible sight? That is once again the second catch of a booster back at the launch tower. It was incredible to see it come back down.
It happens 2 times. It's a pattern.
Silver flare in the sky.
Might be a
and
pattern.
we can still see the launch plume behind us, and wow, that we definitely. I can't speak for you, Dan, but that
I think
was
we all
very
forgot
moving
about
for
the
me.
fact that there's
Yeah,
a Starship
and
heading
now
to
you
orbit
can
right
see
now.
Some of the telemetry on those ship engines has
Wow.
gone out, and we're waiting for an update on what our ship status is. We were
Wow.
approaching that ship engine cutoff time, so just waiting to hear. So obviously we've got booster back, booster on the launch tower.
Are they having an issue with Starship?
But we are waiting to get an update now on the ship. As we
Sounds like they may have had a
expecting ship
problem
engine
with the
cutoff
ship.
About 40 seconds ago, we saw some of those engines start to go out prior to that point.
Oh, I think they lost a ship.
So right now we are just standing by to try and
Hey, I think they lost
get
Starship.
the latest word on where we are with ships. So stick with us for just a couple of minutes as we wait to hear some
I don't think they
updates.
just lost
Now, if you
comms.
just
I think they
recently
lost
joined us,
engines.
You might want to hit rewind and go back about 9-10 minutes ago to when Starship lifted off from the launch tower that you see there. We had a gorgeous ascent followed by a stage separation where the ship separated from the Super Heavy booster. The booster performed a flip maneuver and returned back to the Gulf Coast here. There you can see it on your screen.
Well, they haven't had a
successful
Starship failure on ascent since like the first launch?
We were all hoping to see, and really couldn't ask for a more beautiful background with those blue skies and blue
Pretty
water
sure
there.
every other launch
As Dan said, we are standing by
made
for
it to
an
Leo,
update on the ship,
or at least
that
a
had ignited its engines and started making its
suborbital
way,
path
up to space. So
on the way to
standing
India.
by for more info on that.
I believe that was corrected,
But
or I wasn't
wow,
corrected, but
what
somebody
an
corrected everybody to say
experience
that
see that
the
take
first
off, and for
methyl
that
LOX
booster to come back. You can see it there
orbital
up close on your screen
launch
to
into
the
actual
place
orbit
that it
happened
launched from.
last night.
Once again, there were thousands of
Blue Origin
catch
New Glenn
commit
launch,
criteria,
which was
which
amazing
is
to watch.
basically just all the things that
Equally
we have to
as
assess
beautiful
and evaluate
at
and
night.
basically make sure that they are make sure that everything is clear and acceptable conditions, both on the vehicle side as well as the tower
Well,
side,
let's
in
hope
order
if it,
to enable that catch. So,
or not if, but
obviously from
when
the
Starship
last
comes
two
down, hopefully
flights
that
we have done where,
lands in a
the,
safe zone
Flight
and
6 we attempted but had to divert into the
not
ocean.
on the
And then
Virgin
during
Islands
Flight
or
5, we did have the first
Bahamas
ever
or
successful catch of the booster. We used the learnings of those two flights to hone in that catch commit criteria, and we saw success today, which is pretty awesome.
yeah, the launch was a
Quick status
success.
check. So
I mean, they're going to go
we're
through a lot of
currently about
iterations of
half
Starship
comms,
because,
with the
you know,
ship.
to make a
So,
ship like that
trying to
crew
figure
safe
out
for
exactly
human
when
flight
that
and
happened,
repeatable human
exactly what
flight
happened.
to and
So
from the
obviously
moon
the flight
and Mars.
controllers right now
It's going to go through a
going
lot of
through their
rigorous
data,
redesign.
looking to make sure it's not
Probably won't
anything
look
instrumentation
anything
on the
like
ship,
what it
but
currently
actually,
does, but
try
kind of
and
like
get us a
when they
status. So,
initially
again,
put out
we're gonna keep listening in on this. We'll give you an update as soon as we have a little bit more. So for now, stage 1 back in the tower, waiting to find out a little bit more about stage 2.
yeah, if you look over here, you know, they show it with only one engine left burning, which probably put it into a spin at the last moment, if that's kind of how it went down. And then the system probably set off its self-destruct probably shortly thereafter.
All right. So if you are just tuning in,
So we're probably like
we caught a
waiting
booster,
for video
but we are
confirmation
still
of
waiting
pieces
to
coming
find out
down
a
into
little
the
bit
Gulf,
more,
kind of like
on
the first
ship.
flight.
So it had successfully separated. We did that hot staging maneuver. We did see all 6 of ship's engines on the way uphill during its ascent. But as we were getting to the end of that ascent burn, we saw engines dropping out on telemetry, and we have since lost contact with the ship. So again, we're still listening in on the loops, trying to figure out how much we can get right now. But again, stick with us. We'll bring you updates as soon as we hear them. Really exciting. We were able to catch the booster today. Obviously, we want to get the ship all the way over to the Indian Ocean. May not be able to do that at this point, but we'll give you some updates as soon as we hear a little bit more about the ship.
For those that didn't catch earlier, this was a new version of the ship. This was its debut flight. So a lot of learnings here for sure as we continue to tune in and listen in with the teams and try to gather more information to understand where we stand with the ship. But as Dan mentioned before, teams are trying to make sure that it's not an instrumentation error. We want to find out if it's, you know, did we just lose communication or did something else happen with the ship? So teams are actively working, trying to figure out what we can find out, and we're continuing to listen in and find out more information to share as we can. But as we said before, and you can see it there on your screen, what a beautiful, beautiful sight to see another booster back at the launch tower. That was successfully caught just minutes ago after sending the ship off into space, and having seen it for the first time with my own eyeballs in person, it was pretty awesome. And yeah, the thunder-like sonic boom was really fun to experience.
Yeah. So we are getting a little bit more. So we did lose all communications with the ship. So I mean that is essentially telling us that we had an anomaly with that upper stage. So we were just coming up to the end of that ascent burn for the ship when we stopped when we started to lose a couple of the engines. We saw those dropping out, and then we did lose telemetry from the ship. So that means we didn't have contact with it. So at this point, we are assuming that the ship has been lost. So this was a brand new vehicle, essentially. This was kind of an upgrade version. So with that, there's a lot of things you're upgrading, but there's a lot of things you're going to learn as all of those systems are now interacting with each other for the first time.
He wants
but
to
at this
speak.
point, we did lose the upper stage of the ship. So again, we're gonna listen in and try and figure out a little bit more about what happened. And obviously, we'll do kind of a full breakdown once we get smarter ourselves in the coming hours and days as well.
For sure. Now, for those that have recently tuned in, we're now a little over T plus 16 and a half minutes after liftoff. We do believe that we have lost the ship during its ascent phase. It's successfully separated from the Super Heavy booster, but during that ascent phase, a couple of the engines dropped out, and then shortly thereafter, we lost communication with the vehicle. So we are assuming that we have lost the ship, but we are standing by to confirm that, and once we can, we will. But this was a new version of the ship, of Starship, and it was intentionally designed and flown in order to basically test the envelope, as we have done with every one of these test flights, the keyword there being test, and really trying to understand the boundaries and the maximums for the ability of this vehicle to fly and understand where those boundaries are. So we always knew that excitement is guaranteed today, success not guaranteed. And so yeah, we are standing by to see if we can learn more about the status of the ship. Thanks, everyone, for continuing to stick around as we were checking in on the status of the ship. At this point in time, we can confirm that we did lose the ship. However, Starship, the total vehicle, did have an on-time liftoff at 4:37 p.m. Central Time from the launch pad just behind us at Starbase Texas. Gorgeous ascent and successful stage separation. The booster pushed the ship off, and the ship disconnected during that stage separation. The booster came back for a successful, the second ever booster catch at the launch tower, which was pretty incredible to see.
Yeah, it was great to see the booster come down, but we are obviously bummed out about ship. It looked like we lost contact with it a little under 8.5 minutes into flight. That's roughly when you start to get to that main engine cutoff. We obviously need to go through all the data. It's going to take some time. In the next hours, days, we're going to figure out exactly what happened, come back, fly the next one, get even farther. Reminder, it's a test. It's a flight test. It's an experimental vehicle. So we'll figure out what ended our day today and make sure it doesn't end our day tomorrow. So as we do that, we're going to continue to provide you updates on our X account on SpaceX.com. So just continue to tune in there. As we learn what happened, we'll be ready to share it.
Exactly. So for now, we are going to wrap up our webcast. We'd like to thank the folks in the county for supporting the launch, as well as the agencies that enable us to launch, and of course to our viewers for tuning in.
And thank you, Kate, for coming down, doing this with me. It was great to have you here.
I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us. We'll see you guys at the next Starship flight test.